I'm Carrie Thompson. Most folk these days know me as Toots. I like to describe myself as a multidisciplinary artist based in Bells Hill. Currently studying art and design at NCL in Cumbernauld, my practice spans digital illustration, painting, printing, sculpture and mixed media. This is just a fancy way of saying I'm still trying to figure out who the heck I am as an aspiring professional artist. And I struggle to narrow things down to what I enjoy most. Because as the lecturers will probably confirm, I love everything about art, even down to the written part that most of my other classmates despise. Pre-COVID, I had a job that I loved, selling merch. I was mainly based at the Hydro in Glasgow, but with that job I got to travel all over the UK working gigs and music festivals. But I found myself wondering why I was selling these t-shirts when I'd probably be much better suited to designing them. When the lockdown struck, the world came to a standstill. This included the entire entertainment and hospitality industry, and saw many of my friends and colleagues, and myself, being made redundant. When everything started back up again, I had the option to go back to this life, but instead I chose to follow my childhood dream, and hence began my official artistic journey. I've been sketching and painting for as long as I can remember. With practice, I'm glad to report, my skills have improved slightly since drawing this at age 3. My wee mammy, being my biggest fan, had stored this safely in my baby book this entire time. If only she was still here today to see how much I've created since. My family have always been hugely supportive and influential in anything that I do. Uncle Ian, my godfather, played a big part in shaping my musical tastes. As a way of coping with the grief of his passing, I created this portrait in his memory. It's a profoundly personal piece to me, but it seems to have resonated with others too. When my Uncle Ian's childhood friend, Mad Tam, saw my tribute to him, he commissioned this portrait of himself. Music is still majorly inspiring to me, so using his favourite band Radiohead, I created this digital rendering of him, surrounded by remnants of the band's album artwork. This piece now proudly hangs above his fireplace. And speaking of pride, I find that my own pride often motivates my artwork. I've had the great fortune of being born Scottish, and I have a passion for my country. My adoration for Scotland spurred me to create this, my first ever attempt at creating a painting series composed from 9 separate canvas boards. I've discovered that I very much enjoy the research part of a project, and I do a lot of it. Extensive research allows me to add layers of symbolism and hidden meanings into my artwork. I get excited when things are hidden in plain sight. The way geometry can be utilised to set out the composition of a painting is a method that I've really embraced. As well as gaining mental knowledge, I've also learned many new physical techniques. Being in a class environment lets me experiment with different materials from what I'd used before. A Glasgow Flourish was also my first experience of adopting mixed media into my working practice, like the robin's wings here are made from real oak leaves. Encouragement from the lecturers gave me the confidence to try oil pastel for the first time. A regular visitor in my garden pond, Robert the Robin, serves as the perfect subject matter for these pastel drawings. I often find myself having creative epiphanies with relation to my Lanarkshire roots. Lanarkshire served as the main focus for these Christmas card designs. The religious landmark of Kirkashot serves as the perfect backdrop to this Clydesdale horse, and I channeled my working class heritage into this depiction of a diligent pit pony who I've named Clyde, with his mining companion Douglas sharing a hard-earned break. Family, class, heritage, location, and a love of music combined to fuel this sculpture. Boots and Braces was my attempt at dispelling the myths surrounding skinhead culture, a subculture that I belong to. This piece is jam-packed full of symbolism. Cultural influences, local history, and my appreciation for literature all came together to inspire this banner. 19th century poet Janet Hamilton has become an obsession of mine since designing this, as she, like me, is a bit of a late bloomer when it comes to further education. However, her drive and passion for knowledge is immensely inspiring. I was so proud of this piece, especially since it was picked as class winner for the project. Developing my ideas digitally has been beneficial, as it lets me show others how a design all comes together. This method affords me the ability to change placement and colours easily, whilst also allowing me to recreate several drawing and painting techniques quite comfortably. The novel Whose Turn for the Stairs by Robert Douglas served as inspiration for this illustration, tying together my love of literature with my own family background. A wee nod to the Bruins comic strip echoes the familiarity, warmth, and humour of everyday Scottish life, akin to that described in the story and reflective of what I grew up experiencing. This project allowed for some playful experimentation, painting with a cup of tea, quite literally. I wanted to see if I could depict the Maryhill tenement from the book using something as humble and homely as sticking the kettle on. It was a way of grounding my work in everyday ritual, and the results were surprisingly colourful. With Welcome Hame, I challenged myself more than ever before, creating my first immersive installation. This piece redefines the boundaries of book illustration, inviting the audience to step into the story, to feel it, not just to look at it. It brought together everything I'd been learning: symbolism, mixed media, and identity. Right now, I'm still embracing creative play. I know artists are supposed to have a 5-year plan or some big vision for the future, but honestly, I'm just enjoying trying new things and letting the work guide me. I'm still figuring it out as I go. Development's all part of the process after all. So who is Toots the artist? Truth is, I'm still discovering that. But I've realised that being uncertain isn't a weakness, it's part of the process. What I do know is I'm passionate, curious, and driven by storytelling. It might not be a clear path just yet, but it definitely feels like the right one.